All right, back onto topic. So power steering pulley. You also want to see if there's any crank movement when the car's idling. The crank is down here. Okay. Any abnormal movement from the crank, it's also a red flag. You want to check the health of the belts, the condition. Check for any cracking or whatnot. If they're cracked, then that's another cost for you. As you see, you will have some surface rust, and I don't know if you guys can see in there, it's a little bit moist right there. I do have a leak on this car too. It's a very slow leak. What else can I tell you guys? Mechanical, take the car for a drive with the roof up, okay? Because there are some noises that you should look out for with the roof up. Now, why I tell you to take the car on a test drive with the roof up, I know you might be excited and all, and you know you're gonna drop the top and take it for a test drive, you know, sun in your face, you know, hair blowing in the wind. As much as you want to do that, avoid that for the first few minutes. With the top up, you're gonna try to look for faint, oh my god, you're gonna try to look for faint noises coming from the differential. This will be like a scratching sound, any clicking or grinding sounds. If you hear any prominent noises like that, then you might want to consider, because that is quite an expensive repair as well. My car came with a Torsen differential. If you were buying a first generation NB, 99 or 2000, you might want to check out the driver's the passenger door to see how your car came equipped. How I knew my car had the Torsen differential is it has the tan leather package, okay, the factory skirts with the factory spoiler and the factory front lip, okay, tan leather interior, power radio antenna, and the factory side skirt package. Those cars all came with Torsen differentials. I believe it was an option package that was offered on this car, and the Torsen was included in that option list. Let's see what else mechanically. Obviously, any sounds on your test drive, you want to check for any clicking. Turn the wheels back and forth, turn it all the way to the left, do like a donut in the parking lot, hear for any clicking. Try to hit up a couple potholes or bumps and see if there's any just any strange sounds that shouldn't be there. Overall, the Miata is not a luxury car. It's not a quiet car. There will be quite a few creaks and rattles. You got to remember, these cars are pretty old now. My car's 18 years old, so of course it's not perfect. It looks nice because I've done some modifications, but it is an 18-year-old car after all. So let's jump inside the car. I'm going to show you guys something. Another common thing. Okay, so before we go inside the car, the mirrors on a first generation car, there's a bolt inside the mirror. Those bolts, they get seized because they rust from the inside. And if you try to do this with a first generation mirror, the mirror will most likely break off, and you'll be holding this mirror in your hand. Ask me how I know that. Experience, people, experience. Okay, so you want to jump inside the car. A very common thing on Miatas, first generation and second generation, is, so let me start the car up here. Now, look at my passenger window, how quick it goes up and down. Now look at my driver's window. Big difference, eh? That is because I took off the door panel and I lubed up all the rails, and there's these little wheels that travel on the rails. They help guide the window into position. Those dry out over time, I guess because the door doesn't have a frame and water can just get in there really easy. So that is very common. It wouldn't be too much cause for concern. As long as the power window switches work and both windows operate, you could always take off the door panels. It's a pretty straightforward, simple job. If you have a Phillips head screwdriver, then anybody with minimal mechanical aptitude can easily disassemble the door panel and access the railing for the greasing job that you're planning to do. As you see, the with age, the door handles are a little bit, it seems like they're scratched. I don't know if they used it's completely different than the actual tan door panel, but I've seen this is very common on tan interior cars, this scratching on because this is hard plastic and this is a softer material. When you turn the key in the ignition, when you're starting the car, you want to check for the engine light. If the engine light does not turn on when the key is turned one click, when all the lights go on the dash, then that's a major red flag. That means somebody was trying to hide an existing issue that they had with the car, mechanical or emissions related, that would throw an engine light. If the engine light does not go on at all, then I would just personally walk away, because that's a major red flag for me. What else can I tell you guys? Shifter bushings on these cars. I replaced all my shifter bushings, but if you lift this up, and most sellers won't be willing to take apart half the interior, but a job that you will probably have to do is replace the shifter bushings. It's a pretty straightforward job, about $80 to $100 in parts, depending where you get the parts. They always tear. The rubber dries out, it gets hard, and it cracks. That's very common. So not a cause for concern. What else can I tell you guys? Obviously make sure everything works. The blower motor on all speeds. Just flip all the knobs. Cruise control, if your car has it, turn it on, make sure it works. Make sure it doesn't surge. My cruise control is actually acting up, so if I'm on the highway and I set it to 60 miles an hour, the car will actually accelerate on its own for about 10 miles an hour higher than you set it, and then it'll just drop down, and then it'll surge again and accelerate. I heard that it's a pretty simple fix, but I don't care enough to replace it personally right now, and it doesn't really affect the daily driving of the vehicle itself. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh yes, another thing, open the oil cap. Okay, if you open the oil cap and look on the inside of the cap, the color should be like, you know, either black oil or brown oil, depending how fresh it is, and you want to check for milky consistency. It almost looks like a milkshake or milky or anything of that. That is also another red flag. Another thing is, if the driver said that the car was parked overnight and you get there and the engine's warmed up and he said he warmed it up for you, I'd be a little bit cautious about that, because also some cars exhibit issues when they're cold only. So the seller may have warmed the car up to kind of eliminate the problem while you were there test driving it, or, you know, checking it out. But all in all, these cars are great. You're gonna love it. In Ontario, insurance is cheap for these because there's not many around, so there's less claims. Some focus here. So that's pretty much it, guys. If there's anything else I can think of to watch out for on these cars, if the car drives good, if it has minimal rust or no rust at all, which would be beneficial. If the car was oil sprayed like mine was, then even better. But overall, you're gonna love the car. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comment section. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one.